This is Table Talk with Sid. I'm Sid, professional LA choreographer, former Olympic level gymnast, soccer player. I've turned life improvement motivational speaker. I absolutely love helping people create the life they choose. We're back. I'm back with John. We're going to do a podcast today. I'm very excited because we haven't done this in a long time. And I do love the conversations we have, John, because first of all, I don't have other podcasts that I really converse back and forth with a guy. They're usually women, and so those conversations are a little different. But tonight, we're going to discuss the power of words. And I love this discussion because I did a thought of the day on all the other social medias on the power of words. And it was really crazy because, you know, you just cannot read the viewers. You can't read them. I'm thinking, and it's almost been 100% of the time, when I go, wow, this is going to be a great one, it is like crickets. And then the ones that I go, that really wasn't good, but I'm going to post it anyway. Man, the chatter. So this was one of them, the power of words. And I just got a ton of feedback. A lot of people saying thank you. I never really looked at it that way. I never really understood that life works that way. So, on the terms of the power of words, the discussion is the fact that the things that roll around in your head, whatever those are, good, bad, or otherwise, so they're rolling around in your head, and then finally at some point, whether you say them to yourself in the car or in front of the mirror, or you may say them in passing to someone just in a conversation, whatever leaks from your lips is something now that your soul relates to. It's something that you have taken some ownership in, and it is something that you now are committed to in some form. So the things that come from your lips, the soul says, oh, well, we've had this long conversation, this long meeting within us for quite a while, and we've all come to the agreement that we agree upon this. So now that we've said it, now I have to do whatever I have to do to make that be the truth. So I have to follow the rules and regulations of what just came from your mouth, and I have to help support it by behavior, by beliefs, by doing certain things that make that come true. And I think what's brilliant, when I did this on all that other social media, I think it really did hit a nerve, because the chatter about it was, I really never thought about that. They all related the fact that what you say often happens, but they didn't relate to the fact that when things roll around in your head, or again, whether good, bad, or otherwise, they roll around, and once they come from your lips, that now you took ownership in that somehow to allow it out, that your soul related to it in some form to allow it out, and that somehow there's some ownership in that statement or that thing that you've said, simply because it had to take enough time to conjure it up. So now it's out. And many of them said it was kind of an awakening. Actually, this guy from the U of U, a professor from the U of U, made comment, and he said, you know, I've never made a comment on your thought of the day before. I listen every day, and I find value in each one of them. I think it's quite interesting, the different outlook that you'll present. But he said, today it really hit home. He said, because I have all these students that I work with, and I had a realization today that what's coming from my mouth is guiding my future, or my feelings, or the outcome of my day. So in this thought of the day, I had said, the things that come from your mouth, if they are uplifting, if they are inspiring, if they are of motivation, that's where you're heading. People around you that hear your words will create more of that. Your soul relates to that, so it creates more of it. But if what's coming out of your mouth is negative, a downfall, frustration, what you don't want or what you don't have, then the soul goes, I have to help create that. And I can create that by people around me feeling more frustrated with me, by me saying things that are a little abrasive and people aren't then working with me, or by the simple fact that I'm feeling irritated and frustrated and I'm looking at everything that's not working. And he had said in his comment that he's been doing this work for years, for 20 some odd years, and he couldn't really put his finger on why some days he would get more positive reaction from his students over other days. And he said he came to the realization it is the words that are coming from his mouth. And he said it's not necessarily as in even the words, sometimes it's the tone of it. Sometimes it's the belief within himself, like he was saying that he could say something in the encouragement of getting these students to work with him, but in the back of his mind, he's feeling like, my gosh, I have said this 500 times. How many times is it going to take before someone gets on board? So even though he may be saying certain words, the feeling of what he really believes up in his head is coming through, so he's not getting the positive feedback that he wants. And so I know that there are a lot of people out in the world that wonder why their life never quite becomes what they want it to become, or what they think their intention is for their life to become. The hiccup is their life is not becoming what they choose it to be for several reasons, but one of the major reasons is what is being conjured up in their head, so their beliefs, what finally leaks from their mouth, and then what their soul feels committed to making sure happens for that life. Now, you and I know several individuals, just because we are in similar circles, but there's one individual that we're both aware of, and that we both have, well, you've known longer than I have. I've known of her for a long time, but not as an adult. However, we are aware that she is one of those individuals that may never ever find peace in her life. She may never find grace and gratitude in her life. She may never find true fulfillment and happiness. Actually, joy, I would say joy over happiness, because happiness isn't as deep as joy. Joy is in that soul. It's the thing that leaks from you, and that you have so much gratitude that even if your day isn't great, you still feel that peace. And from talking and knowing her, tell me the reasons why you believe she may never achieve that in her life. And what do you think she has to do to change in order to achieve those things?
Attitude adjustment.
Okay, what does that mean, though?
Well, always thinking that everything's awful.
Is her verbally, she says that too? So it's not just thinking, it's she talks about it.
And she presents herself that way as well.
What does that mean?
Like, you can see it in people's body language.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's walking slumped over all the time,
True.
you know, or by the way they sit, or by their facial expressions, if I'm constantly rolling my eyes, or my face is just in a constant state of frowning.
You're saying we could write a book and put those as the first two things. If your face is in a constant state of frowning, we're going to say no medical doctor needed to tell us you're unhappy. They want a different future. They want their now to be different than what it's been. But you cannot create that unless you are willing to alter your habits, your behavior, how you act, what you hear.
But she's been doing it for so long.
That's correct. Oh, and I did a podcast on this. Change only happens with change. And that's what I was talking about, is that so many people want change. But change doesn't happen unless you change.
Right, but if you've been living a certain way, well, if I knew a guy who long time ago, and he hated it. He said he had a girlfriend that kind of acted like that, and she wasn't like depressed or anything, but she would put on this weird show, and he would always call it searching for compliments, because otherwise she felt negative and downtrodden, even though she wasn't. She was like a very nice person, but she didn't get enough recognition or enough feel-good words.
You know why that is, right?
No.
That's low self-esteem. When someone has low self-esteem, it means first they feel empty, they don't feel equal, they don't feel worthwhile, and they don't feel worthy to be with whomever they are circling with. So, in order to feel like I belong here, or that I even emotionally can hang here, I need to be hearing those things, because I can't muster it up in my own self. I don't believe it enough. I don't own it. I don't have any self-worth, all of these things. So I'm going to have to go the opposite direction. I'm going to have to go with that outside of myself and pry for it. That's called low self-esteem, unfortunately.
Okay. So yet she would oftentimes, he said they would like go out, like they would go out to a restaurant, and they'd be sitting there, and if like the restaurant had like live music, like maybe like there was a guy playing a piano or something in the corner, and she would say, "Wow, I really like that. That's a really good song he's playing." And then he would say, "Yeah, you could probably play that." And she's like, "No, I can't." I'd say, "No, but you play the piano." "Yeah, I know, but not that good." "But you could be if you practice." No, I'll never be that good. I've been playing since I was 5, and I still
I
can't."
still suck.
And just constant negativity, like no hope of, well, if you really practiced, you could become better.
Okay, let me give you another clue on what that often is. So when someone is in that state of mind, no, I could never, someone keeps probing them along, oh, I could never, it is because when you have low self-esteem, low worth value, low ability to see your talents as an asset, then if you can keep everyone believing that you can't do, okay? And because let's just hypothetically say one day she attempts, but it doesn't turn out the way she would like the first time, because, excellence is built on practice, do again, practice, do again. But let's say she attempts, or even emotionally thinks she's going to attempt, but if she's told everyone that she could never, then that's somewhat of how a soul believes, because it's not really, but believes it's protecting itself. If I get everyone believing that I could never, then if I never, then they didn't see me fail, quote unquote, but really failure is never the attempt of, right? However, let's say she attempts and she fails, then she can come back and say, see, I told you so. I told you. Then she's right again. That fear of being wrong is huge in people. But what they don't understand is that you're never really wrong unless you never try. If you never try, then you're sitting in a world of a lot of zeros.
But you have to keep trying.
That's correct, because it's that beautiful journey of do and do again, and improve and do again. Because when a soul gets the understanding of the brilliance of is never a downfall, it's just a stepping stone. Learning that failure never really happens is just something that's propelling you and moving you and maneuvering you to a path better than you. That things never really are falling apart, they're really coming together. That's what they're doing. They're coming together to help create the best journey for you. They're coming together by closing doors so that you maneuver yourself to something else so that you can try something a little different with the intention of creating the life meant for you. Because I'll just be upfront, if we all knew what was the best life for us, wouldn't we all be living it? But we think we know what's best for us, but the fact of the matter is we don't know what's best for us. Only life, God, and the universe knows what's best for us. But in order to get movement, what life, God, and the universe does is they intrigue us. Okay, so they'll give us something up front here. And let's just say, I'll use my experience of that TV network that came to pick me up. Okay, I was all excited about it. It was going to be the gig, blah, blah, blah. Well, then it didn't work out. There was reasons why it didn't work out. And I'm grateful it didn't work out because there's some people you freaking can work with and there are some you cannot. Well, that, my girlfriend said to me, doesn't that frustrate you? That things come along and you can get so excited and then it just poof, goes away and leaves you empty. When in reality, what it did, if you look for the good in it, is it said, one, you're relevant. 2, people want what you have. 3, they will pay good money for what you do. Your talent is worthwhile. So really what that experience was the experience of education, of knowledge, and understanding. And God, life, and the universe had to present that so that I knew that I'm on the right road. Without presenting things, and then sometimes letting them poof away, because it's not always the experience that you're heading for, it's the education you got from reaching that direction. Now, those who never reach never get that experience. Also, those who are not good or willing or open enough to find the good, will think that life is constantly crapping on them, when in reality, life is getting them to move. Because when we all become too comfortable, comfort is, you don't want to be in chaos every day of your life. But comfort is not a great place to stay, meaning this will do, this is fine. Because comfort does not encourage enthusiasm. It doesn't encourage problem solving. It doesn't encourage someone to be creative. So comfort is not always the best thing. So what life, God, and the universe does is it stirs up life. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you maneuvering. It keeps you problem solving so that you will continue to problem solve, recreate and create. Will keep you reaching and finding and learning and becoming more educated. And people see that as their life is troubled, that their life is a challenge, that things aren't working. And then that stuff starts seeping from their mouth. Oh, this is a downfall. My life is the crabs. I keep trying and trying and trying, and what I get in return is a zero. When in reality, they do keep getting opportunity. And that opportunity, just because it didn't end up to be what they thought it should be, they see it as a zero. Well, God, life, and the universe, they're so amazing and great and infinite that they're saying, dude, you're not ready for what you say you want. Plain and simple, you're not ready for it. So out of grace, we're going to provide you with opportunity to learn the skills you need to learn, to prepare you to have patience, or to prepare you to problem solve. We're going to motivate you by putting things in front of you to get you to move so that you have a journey of something to learn from. so busy thinking and then verbalizing all of the things that they think are going wrong instead of looking at all that is going right, because all that is really happening is that life, God in the universe, is helping you to have a path of education so that you can become more equipped to become the person you want to be, so that you can maneuver yourself to the path that's more equipped for you, and so that you can figure out how to alter things here and there so you can be a master at what you do, not just someone that dopes in it and teeters in it and really doesn't have the skill to be there. It's a brilliant, brilliant thing. Do you have any feedback for that?
I do. Okay, so what you were saying, the person wants to keep trying and trying, but let's say this person has gotten to the point now, because of all the negativity, that they're not willing, they're not brave enough to try. And now let's say that maybe someone's not coming after them, seeking them out, saying, hey, I know you have skills, I would like you to come work with me, do something for me, whatever. But let's say instead, this person now sees an opportunity to maybe go talk to somebody, but because they have been negative this whole time, they don't even have the courage to go do that.
Right. So, I also did another podcast on outlook, okay? Outlook is everything. So I was just talking to a friend of mine who has a daughter. This daughter holds a position within society that's a very, very respected, and it's very difficult to get.
Okay.
So this person I was talking to went on to tell me how she felt bad for this woman, that her life is difficult and things never really quite work out for her, this woman who has this great job. And I had to stop her. And I said, just take a moment, just take a step back. All that really is happening with your friend, the one with the great job, the respectable job, she's living the life of life. That's all that's happening. Nothing more, nothing less. Her life is a brilliant life. The only downfall is the outlook she has chosen to have about her life. If she chooses to look at life as, look what I didn't get, look at how hard this was for me, look at how someone was unfair to me here, her life has to take on the elements of that belief. So in closing, it has just come full circle, not just point of view, and not just that in order to have change has to happen. The very, very first steps is what is being thought up in your head, what is rolling around, and what finally escapes your lips. That is the vehicle that takes you to wherever you're going, good, bad, or otherwise. It is the vehicle that determines if you're going to have the type of life you choose, or if you're going to continue to live the life you accidentally created. Because that life that has been accidentally created was created, most of us created our life in the late teens on up into the 20s, when you didn't have history, you didn't have wisdom. And then we created this thing, we keep living with it, and then we're unhappy because it was just accidentally created. So that life will continue unless a person chooses, they have to choose to be aware of what is rolling around in their head, what is taking up space, what they are putting ownership in, and what they are putting time into. Then they have to be aware that the words that they finally allow to escape from their lips will absolutely be that which takes destination, to their point in their life where they're heading, wherever that is, and it absolutely will be why their life is the way it is today and how it will be or will become tomorrow. So in your day, you will fall down, stand up, brush off, and move on. Hey, thanks again, everyone, for joining me. It's always such a pleasure. If you want to find me on another social media platform, you can find me on Facebook at Table Talk with Sid USA or Sydney Dawn N. Hall, Twitter at TTWSid or Table Talk with Sid, Instagram, Table Talk with Sid or Table Talk with Sid USA. When you're out in that world, make sure you're looking for the good. It will help your day bloom a little easier. Thanks again. Talk to you.